Inktoberfest 2018. This is day 9, and today we are finishing up our little focus on alcohol inks. So welcome to Hedgehog Hollow and welcome to Inktoberfest. If you've just joined us, check out that top right hand corner for the Inktoberfest 2018 playlist. We'll make sure that's up there for you. And there's lots of things on there. We've already finished a focus on all the different distress inks and some of the distress products out there from Holtz. And this has been all about alcohol inks. Everything from the alcohol inks themselves, the different types of papers you can get, the applicators, blending solution, and different types of alcohol inks as well. But today's focus is all about alcohol lifting, the main pad, and also the Reinker, because this is a really handy little Reinker and you can do some fun techniques with it. So we have so much to tell you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you get all of our Oktoberfest 2018 videos and beyond, of course. But let's dive in and talk about alcohol lifting. Enjoyed Victoria Marie's tutorial yesterday. I followed along, and what I did was from the day before I took all of the pieces we made and I applied blending solution. I cut them in half and applied blending solution to just one of them, and you can see in them on the back I kind of wrote what I had done for each technique. And then here where we stamped out our pumpkins, I went over part of it with that blending pen as well. So I took some of that colour out just to kind of remind myself of those different techniques. You can see how my ring is just filling up. I'm either going to need multiple rings, or I did order some large ones. Hopefully they'll be here soon so that I can transfer those over. But today I wanted to talk to you about alcohol lifting. I know Victoria touched on it yesterday, and I do have an in-depth tutorial that's linked in that top right hand corner up there. But what I want to really show you is a few techniques. I also want to cover a couple of things that we didn't talk about in that first video that I did. So here I have the Glorious Tidings. This is the Christmas version of that stamp that I used in my first video. I absolutely love these two. There's Glorious Bouquets, and then there's this one which is Glorious Tidings. So I have two of the pieces that we used previously, and we're going to have a go with those. So I'm going to pop this into here, and it's kind of designed that you only use part of it. You can of course use the whole design. I'm going to go down here. In fact, I'm going to utilize some of this pink in here too. So I'm going to pick that up. So you ink up your stamp just as you would with any other alcohol, with any other ink pad even. So I'm going to go over my stamp rather. And I'm going to be giving away one of these ink pads and one of the wonderful storage tins that goes with the alcohol inks in the blog post. And of course over there you'll want to hop over anyway, because you'll find that there's lots of information in there for you, including a Tonic coupon code and an Ellen Hudson coupon code. So you want to make sure that your stamps are clean. If you've used archival ink on them, make sure you have cleaned them first of all. Then we're going to give this a really nice press. I like to leave it a couple of seconds. There's kind of different schools of thought as to whether you have to do that or not. And I'm going to grab some other cardstock. So I'm going to have another piece of Yupo. And you can also use the alcohol ink cardstock. Now you can do these techniques on either of these cardstocks. The alcohol lift is not going to work as well if you're not using Yupo cardstock, because it's kind of soaked into that glossy cardstock. But for the techniques we're doing, you can use either paper, it doesn't matter. I always tend to go with Yupo just because it's a preference, but you can go with both, and we'll do a little bit of both on here. So I'm going to lift this up. And right now it doesn't look like much, but we're going to pop it to the side for a moment. And as I pop it to the side, I'm going to put another piece of cardstock over it. This is the Yupo that I've popped on top here. And I'm going to stamp down using my stamp. Actually, I'm going to go with Yupo just because the pieces that I have are a little bit bigger, and so they're the same size, so I'm going to get all of those pretty shades in there. So I can get all of that ink that's in here, that's lifted up already, and I can stamp out with it. And so you can see there, let me lift it up for you, Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So you can use your alcohol ink pieces like a template, and you don't just have to do it once. You can use it many, many times as a template. You'll get lots of different stampings out of it. But you can also get multiple stampings using this. So I'm going to again take my Yupo, and this time I'm going to give it first of all a stamp down, like so. I'm going to lift this up. So there you can see I've got slightly lighter stamp on there, so there's the second one. Now I'm going to take my alcohol ink cardstock, because that just happens to be what I have here. And I've never actually tried to stamp this out on regular cardstock. Let's just take a tag. This may or may not work, I don't know. I'm going to press it into those areas. So you can also use it like an alcohol kind of archivally type ink on paper. You see it works, it's just a little bit lighter. And then one thing I do like to do is I like to take my stamp. I'm just going to move this out of the way. I'm going to lightly spritz it with alcohol. This is just isopropyl alcohol in my light mist. And so what you get is a more watercoloured version. You can see there. So I really like this as a background, particularly if I used a background stamp, something like these gorgeous Christmas stamps here. That would give you a really fun background. But when I do my next stamp out, which I'm going to add more alcohol to, and so I'm going to get it even lighter, like this. And I'm going to stamp out. And this just gets as much ink as possible off of my piece there. And then what I can do is take a black ink, and I'm going to take some hybrid. Of course, everything I use is in your description below, so you can check that out. And this is another reason why I like to keep that craft sheet inside of my MISTI, is that now, whoops, that was my ink going on the floor, when I stamp out, and it goes over the edge, it's super easy to clear up. But when I bring this up, you can see that some of that colour shines through. So you can make really, really pretty cards out of that. So from one lot of alcohol lifting, I'm going to take this off, and I will definitely clean that one so that I can use it again with that lift ink. I have many, many prints. So I have a really solid one. I have a stamp off. I have an even lighter one. I have this one. And I have this one, and that is without using those original ones. So now let's go back to our original piece. I'm going to give this a really nice press down. Sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. If you check out that other video, you'll see how that works. We'll make sure the whole Inktober playlist is linked in that top right for you as well. So you can see here, I also get another kind of fun, slightly more kind of watercolory, but again, beautiful as a background on there. And then I'm going to take a piece of kitchen towel, and we're going to start blotting. Now don't rub, because otherwise you're not going to get that lift that you want. But go in and just blot off. Sometimes if I want a really strong lift image, I'll stamp it twice, so I could go back in now with my lift ink if I hadn't removed it from the MISTI. But there you can see I have a lifted ghosted image. Isn't that cool? So that's one option, and there I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 prints just from one lifting. And I could lift this again, and I could add more detail and get all sorts of things in there as well. So that's one option for you. Now another thing I want to show you is using the alcohol lifting reinkers. I don't buy many reinkers, but I have to say that Ted at Stampers Anonymous completely sold this one to me. And I'd had an idea that you might be able to do this, but I wasn't entirely sure, and it turns out you can. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a blending tool and a clean foamy, you want one dedicated to your lift ink. We're going to take a stencil. So again, we'll link everything in that description for you, but here I'm going to take this, I'm going to take my lift ink, and I'm actually going to put it directly onto my glass mat. I'm going to pick it up onto my blending foam. I'm going to lay it down. Now to start with, you're not going to see much apart from a lot of colour coming off on your blending foam. But you'll see it start to act. Now I'm going to lift this up. Look at that. You've lifted through a stencil. How neat is that? Now the other thing I did manage to try, and I kind of ran out in my mini mister, but I took some of the alcohol lift Reinker and I put it into a spray bottle, and you can make splatters and you can spray through stencils. And I didn't see anything on here that says you can't spray it. As always, work in a well ventilated area, all of those kind of standard precautions you take. But this is just such a fun idea to be able to put it through a stencil. And you've also got your foiling and things. Now it's not going to remove your foiling. Your foiling is going to stay there. So you're going to get that cool technique throughout your foil. So I will again be cutting this in half. I'll be marking this as foiled. This is alcohol ink lift through a stencil. And also I'll be popping some of these into my tag book for tomorrow as well. So super quick, just want to address those couple of extra things from my last video, and I hope you've enjoyed this really quick look. Don't forget to check out that other video, and of course the rest of the Inktoberfest videos as well, and I'll see you again very soon. We've got another guest coming tomorrow, so stay tuned. Happy stamping. Bye.